Well, hey there, guys. Welcome to the live stream. Man, I'm so glad you guys made it on today. Or if you're watching this later, thanks for checking out the live stream. Today is going to be a lot of fun. Oh, so much to talk about. Such a big year, right? 2021. How was your 2021 on a scale of 1 to 10? Put in the comments right now. Was this a 10 out of 10, or, could it have been much better? I like to always think really every year is the best year of my life. I mean, so many things to be thankful for. And whether you go through hard things or not, God has really, really blessed me and my family. And I hope that you feel the blessings too. So let's see who's hopping in on the live stream today. I'd love to know where you're watching from, who you are, what you do, that kind of thing. And this is going to be a conversation today. So drop in the chat right now where you're watching from. And let's see who is hopping in, maybe what you do. Are you a tech guy at a church? I found it really interesting the other day. I asked, are you a paid person, full-time, part-time? Are you a volunteer? And overwhelmingly, most of you guys that watch the channel, at least that respond to surveys, are volunteers. And so, man, that's awesome. I think, you're the lifeblood of the global church. I mean, it can't be all these paid positions. It's got to be people just serving, and you guys are awesome. So, what are we going to talk about today? Well, we've got some live stream reviews we can do later on. We're going to talk about just kind of some of my favorite moments of 2021, maybe some of the best worship tech that has happened in 2021. Some interesting tech that is on the horizon and how that might affect the church. I'd love to hear your opinions about VR. I want to dive in and talk about the top songs that our church, like, dive into the analytics a little bit of our planning center stuff and look at what songs we did and, evaluate that a little bit going forward. And then also just chat with you guys and answer any questions you might have. We've got a new year coming up, which means new budgets. And so I don't know how your budgets work at your church, but ours roll over in January, and I definitely went over budget this year. Some of those things were out of my control, but just things happen, and yeah, I went over budget just a little bit. So we'll see where that all ends up. Luckily, our church we've been really healthy this year. God has really done some great things, and yeah, so I didn't have to worry as much as in years past. But yeah, also, if you guys can just let me know, is this sounding good, looking right, everything normal? Man, my ATEM Mini over here, it's actually an ATEM Mini Pro. What is happening? Now I'm like I'm not even switching inputs now. I'm not sure what is going on. It's being real finicky though. Like, it says I'm on camera 2 now, but I'm not. I'm still on camera 1. So I'm not sure what's going on. But hopefully you guys can hear me and it sounds good, and I'm able to switch over to our live stream stuff. Let's see if I go to camera 4. I wonder what's going on there. Look at my keys and make sure there's nothing weird with those. Aha. So picture in picture was on, and that's what it was. So my picture in picture settings must be messed up. Last time I did this, I used this Stream Deck. Stream Decks cannot be used unless you have them plugged into an actual USB port on your computer. So I have a USB hub here, and it will not work with the USB hub, just so you know that. Like, you have to dedicate one of your actual USB inputs. If you know a workaround for that, maybe you can drop that in the chat, but yeah, it just sits here and blinks, so I wasn't able to use that, which I guess kind of screwed up some of my other settings. Every time I try to go live now from my ATEM and just encode from it, YouTube does not like it for some reason, so I don't know what the deal is there. But yeah, this This little guy has been being annoying. We do have the super chat button here today. If you want to jump on and say thank you for something that you got, value out of this year, you can do that through super chat if you want to. You definitely don't have to do that, but that is there. We can super chat and do that. Let's see who's hopping in the chat though. Willie, he says, "I've been blessed. 10 out of 10. Blessed every day. I'm alive." That's right. Yeah, so true, right? Let me see if I can change my theme here. Because I don't like the... Yeah, let's go with the gray. Joshua, he says, 2021 was a 7 for me. It was actually a pretty good year, but I'm still recovering from the craziness of the pandemic. Just tired mostly. It's been a really, really busy. Yeah, I can understand that, Josh, for sure. 2021 has been super busy. I think for us as tech guys, like we're probably feeling it a lot. Like it's just been crazy. Doug's hopping on. He says he's from Fresno, California. Been doing sound and video for 40 plus years. Teach us your ways, Doug. That's amazing. That's awesome. Jeff is hopping on. He says he's from Fort Myers, Florida, a full-time tech guy and volunteer. And he would give this year a 10. Very nice. Very nice. Yeah, so Josh, the way that I'm bringing these graphics on that you're seeing, the chat and everything, is through a Luma key. And so whenever I did my swipe up with 3 fingers to show all windows, it like did it also on that extra monitor. So everything that's coming from H2R Graphics is being done with a Luma key, so I can have it on the downstream keyer because I can't put it on top of everything. Right. Yeah, there's something weird with the A10 where I have to have it on the downstream keyer to be able to do it like this. So that's what's going on with that. But yeah, I don't know. My picture in picture was all weird. So, because usually I wonder if I go here and I go here and then I do that. Yeah, okay, now it's back to normal. I overrode it. So, and now I'm in 2 places. All right, guys. Oh man, I'm so glad that we get to do this one last time. Let's talk about what's been some of my favorite moments of 2021. I just want to go back and think about some of the videos that I've posted. I have, let's see, I've posted over 80. I think 80. This will be 81 videos. Whoa, I can't type either. And let's look back at some of the stuff that we've talked about. So my very first video that I made on this channel was this cheap DIY stage design ideas. And that is really, that one blew up for my channel. And I hope that you guys found value in that. That one is going to be getting updated soon because in this next year, we've got some big plans to really revamp our stage. We've had kind of the same stage design for quite a few years now, and I love the versatility of all the different looks that it brings. But we're kind of hoping to maybe take out our choir loft and put in risers when we need them. But right now, it's just kind of always there. And so I don't know what all is going to happen with the stage, but I'm thinking we're going to come up with some new design ideas for sure. We got our broadcast audio mix that I probably need to do an update video for. If that's something you would be interested in, is just hearing how we do our broadcast mix, maybe an even deeper dive into some of that, let me know in the chat. There's some other great resources out there already, but everybody kind of has their own take on it, and we have ours. The first Sunday vlog, I just finally went for it. That was 10 months ago. And I hope that you guys enjoy the Sunday vlogs. We're going to keep doing them in 2022. Really kind of the model of my channel, the way I'm doing this is we have 3 styles of videos. And I don't know which kind you like the best. Maybe it falls different for everybody. But we have Sunday vlogs, which is fun. I have tech tips and I have these live streams where we can actually interact. So that's kind of the model that I've had, and going forward, I think I'm going to stick with it. So um, we also have what else here? Tech booth remodel tour. We're still doing stuff to our tech booth, so I'll keep y'all updated as we go through that. Just so many things that we covered and talked about, and I've got a long list of everything else that I want to do moving forward in 2022. So let's see what else happened. I actually got a dog, another dog. If you guys want to see a picture, I can probably show you here. See if I can get my mouse back over here. His name is Max, and there he is. He's a little guy. He's probably 12 weeks old or so. He's what is he? He's a terrier mix, poodle, and mainly dachshund. So, yeah, he's a cutie. Little tiny runt. He's an ankle biter for sure. Oh, that makes 3 dogs for us. So we have Charlie Jr., Rylan Jr., and Max. So we just got him, and it's been fun. So right now, I would love for you guys to post any questions, any tech stuff in the comments, and let's have a conversation, help each other out as we move into 2022. Karen has a question here. Does your church have a New Year's Eve service? So no, we do not have a New Year's Eve service. We had a New Year's Eve service for kids 6th through 12th grade up here on Wednesday night, and they had what we call Nerf ops. They had probably, I don't know, 100 Nerf guns, just tons of Nerf darts, and they used the whole church, closing off certain areas, and have Nerf wars. And then we also had like a laser tag company come and set up their laser tag thing. And then they played this thing called like Secret Church, where it's kind of like hide and go seek, Mr. Beast style or whatever. And they had a blast. So they were up here till 1 a.m, which meant I had to come and pick up my son and his 3 friends at 1 a.m. on Wednesday night or Thursday morning. But no, we don't do a New Year's Eve service. Really, most of our people, our congregation, are kind of either doing their own thing with their families, or they're just, I don't know, between Christmas and January when the kids go back to school, it's just very chill around here. So, do you guys have New Year's Eve services? I know like Elevation does. They have like their big New Year's Eve party, but they also canceled church the week before that. So, I don't know. I've never seen that's not a normal thing around here, at least in Oklahoma. So, I don't know. Oh, Willie's got a good question here. He is asking Teradek Ace 500 versus Teradek Spark 4K. Okay, so here's my thoughts on that. The Teradek Ace 500 for us has been super reliable. They're about the same price, I believe. Let me look and see here if I can pull it up. The Teradek Spark is new. It's like their new model. Now, it can do 4K. Not that that's probably something you really need, but let me see if I can pull it up here. While the Ace 500 can only do 1080p, so they're now the same price because the Ace 500 used to only be $1,000, and now it's up to $1,500. I got stuff all over the screen here. Here is the Teradek Spark. So it's got like mounting like points on the bottom of it and all that stuff. And it looks like it would be the perfect solution. They're both over 5 gigahertz. So you can just mount to the top of your camera on a cold shoe or whatever. But my main thing that I don't like about the Spark, Willie, is that the battery life is really short. I think it's like 60 minutes or maybe 75 minutes, and it's an internal battery. I think you might be able to, sorry, I think you might be able to add like a external USB, brick thing or something, or an MPF battery with some type of USB to DC converter to extend that. But at that point, like I'd rather just get a Teradek Ace 500 and get whatever battery mounting plate that I want. So the only time I could see that it would maybe be a benefit is if you're going to use it on like a cable cam or something where you don't want a ton of weight. It'd be a little bit lighter. So it's an interesting thing though that it can do 4K. It also can do the thing where like you could use your phone to see the feed from the Teradek, where the Ace 500 it can't do that. It's just between the transmitter and the receiver. You could get multiple receivers, I believe, but that's pricey for sure. So, it's definitely more advanced as far as the feature set, but for like live streaming in churches, I don't know that it's actually better. So, that's my initial thoughts on the Teradek Spark. It's tempting though, for sure. Josh says that they got a puppy last month. What kind did you get? And do you have 3 like me? Oh, they're a blast, but yeah, you gotta. It's like having a little baby. So, all right, Karen has a good question. How do you have the question and name almost instantly on the live? So I'm using a free piece of software called H2R Graphics, and so I think it's now if you go to h2r.graphics, you can find that. It's got a bunch of stuff that is built in for adding like lower thirds and titles and scrolling stuff. And right now it's outputting on a second display onto, well, like out of my MacBook Pro with an HDMI into the ATEM. And it's just using a Luma key on the downstream keyer. And so nothing can be black. Like if anything is black, it'll actually get keyed out if it's pure black. So you can see that most things are going to be like dark gray if they're in that family. And it can pull in through the YouTube API. You have to set that up beforehand. And then you just click the link and connect it. And now I can see you guys' comments coming in on this software. And so whenever I click on that, it brings it up. Things like Ecamm Live or even Restream, like I could do this within Restream if I wanted to, actually. Like, let's try that. If I go in here to Restream, because they have the ability to do it too. If I go into the chat, this is what it looks like if I do it through Restream. And so it's nice too, but I can't do all the other graphics with it, Karen. But if you go through Restream, you could do this as well. If you were doing like a Q&A with your pastor, maybe a Facebook Live, like I know we're doing our first series and our second series are all kind of these taboo topics that the church avoids. And so maybe you want to do like a asking for a friend series and do maybe a live stream with your pastor throughout the week on Wednesday nights. You could go in here and Restream or Ecamm or use H2R Graphics and be able to bring these on and off. So I think if I click hide now on Restreams, yeah. Karen's asking, do I have a video about this? I would love to learn about that. That's a great video idea. Yeah, maybe I could do one showing how we could use H2R Graphics for our ministries. I use it for this live stream, but I gave a couple suggestions off the top of my head there. But yeah, H2R is free. They have a pro plan where you can do extra outputs and stuff like that. But the other really neat thing that they do is if I can go over here, and he has another free software. It's called H2R Gear. I don't know if it's on here. Oh, it's under here to record.com. And if we go to tools, this is a cool tool as well. If you're using a Web Presenter HD, this tool can automatically set up your API stuff for your XML. That was a lot of abbreviations. H2R gear. So I don't want to do that because I don't want to show y'all, but what I can show you is what it does. You can have a layout of all of your stuff in H2R gear, and it's got all these preset things. So like maybe you're setting up a new video system, or you just want to document all the signal flow of your existing video system, which is really important for like the cursive knowledge to not only be just in one person's mind of how everything is ran, because you can't troubleshoot, right? So we have started the process of documenting all of our things in H2R gear. I know that there is like frame.io, I think, as well, that may be free. So you could check that out. But H2R gear has a lot of the stuff already built in, like Decklink Duo and, converters and things like that with the correct ins and outs already set. And you can even run like your power through it. So that's a cool feature. What are the questions you guys got? We're just kind of hodgepodgey today. Isaac says H2R gear is a great resource. Yeah. I think it solves that problem for sure. All right. Let's look at kind of the back end of my planning center here. And I just want to kind of go through and show you guys what our year has looked like song-wise. I know most of you guys might be tech, but hopefully this brings value to my other worship pastors out there as well. So let me hop over here. I can't even remember which side I'm supposed to move my mouse off the screen to, left or right. All right, so if you've never ran a report like this one on Planning Center, let me show you how you can do that. So if you go to your songs, then you come up here and you go to song schedule. You can choose which service you want the report from. And then if we go to generate report, it's going to do it for up here. It's going to say, it says something else when you first load this, but you can choose what date range you want it in. And then if we come here and we click, our total button, it'll put things in order for what songs we did the most. So looking here, it's also interesting because you can see what new songs you've done, how many new songs you've introduced in the last year. So King of Glory from Passion was a new song for us that we introduced this year. And it looks like for the first time on January 17th. And we did it 11 times this year in our second service. So that's a lot. Waymaker was not brand new, but we did it 10 times. Goodness of God, another new song. House of the Lord, new song from Phil Wickham. Goodness of God, I don't think was a new song this year, but for us, it was a new song. And that was one of those songs that I just held off on because I just didn't love the song. And then we did it. I just kept hearing everybody talk about how amazing it was. So then we did it, and it's just so singable and the words are so good that our church really caught on and really worshiped through that song. And so, if there's one of those songs that maybe you personally don't love, but you're hearing a lot of great things in the global church about it, just give it a shot. And it may not work in your church context, but for us, Goodness of God did, and it's really grown on me for sure. God's So Good, that's one from Life Church. That's a good kind of mid to up-tempo song that's really singable. Holy Ground, we did 8 times. We released a new vision statement this year talking about our vision statement is Jesus changes everything. Holy Ground is a good female-led song with an awesome bridge that has that very phrase in it, Jesus, you change everything. And so we did that a number of times. Battle Belongs, Phil Wickham 7 times. Christ Be Magnified. Here's another new one from Cody Carnes that we did 7 times. We Praise You from Brandon Lake and Matt Redman. We've done 6 times, and we've started doing a female key in drop D. That is fun, a fun take on that. Still doing This Is Amazing Grace, Great Things, Rise of Hallelujah. King of Kings we hadn't done before, and we've done that 6 times now. So I think in total this last year, let's see, we did new songs 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, so we did 5 new songs. We introduced 5 new songs. So 5 new songs over 12 months. I don't know. Is that a lot? Is that not enough? For me, it's so hard. Like there's amazing, great, awesome songs that I want to do, and I just don't have the schedule, bandwidth, and time to feel like, I can just keep throwing new songs at our people. I mean, if your church is like our church, I would say 2 out of 4 Sundays for about half the church, attendance wise, they're coming. So, yeah, it's hard to just keep throwing new songs in there because, people really aren't there every single Sunday. So hopefully you found that interesting, just diving into some of the analytics of our worship services. We only have that one contemporary worship service, and we do have a traditional worship service as well. So Greg, yeah. Oh, I've still got this on. Greg says H2R has a good YouTube channel too. If you want to learn more about the Stream Deck and Companion and all the different ways that you can utilize that, yes, H2R or Here to Record, I think, is the YouTube channel. You can look that up. And they have a lot of really interesting stuff for live streaming. I agree. For sure, check that out. Ricky says, I like doing budget-friendly hacks. Have you ever put chord charts on the back wall for musicians? I don't like music stands. So that is actually in my little notes section of videos that we're going to be doing in this next year. I want to talk about how all the ways that we display our music for our musicians and kind of the different hacks that I've come up with. Some of them are not unique or anything, but I agree. I can't stand music stands, and I can't stand music stands. And so, yes, at Christmas actually was the very first time that we utilized putting chord charts on our projector and like our stage display. So, and it worked pretty well. Obviously, with the new multi-tracks implementation for ProPresenter, that gets even more interesting. Historically, all of our front line memorizes their music, and our back line can have music on iPads or other creative ways that we show it. But man, Christmas music just has so many different chords, and it was nice to be able just to throw it up there. The multi-track stuff has some interesting quirks that I'll show. I don't want to make that video before it's like really polished, because they'll probably fix some of this stuff. I mean, I am in the Slack group for like ProPresenter beta testers. I guess if you make a video about things you don't like about ProPresenter like I did, then they invite you to their Slack group. So but it is interesting, like that multi-tracks integration. So yeah, and Ricky says that new feature is not budget friendly. So they screenshot sections and attach it to the slide it belongs to. Okay. Yeah, we've used the slide notes section quite a bit, along with Apple TVs and stuff. So that is an interesting, way to do it, screenshotting them. So Ricky's church, he says they try to do 2 new songs a month, at least 1 new song a month. At least 1 new song a month. Yeah. There's different schools of thought on that, and I could probably get away with doing a few more new songs, but for me, the way I implement new songs, and maybe that's a whole other video, is I kind of have a process. And so, yes, I could do a new song every month, but then you're cycling out those new songs that you did at the beginning of the year. Like, how often are you even doing them at the end of the year? So we did, I think our top song, what was it? King of Glory. We did uh, we did King of Glory 11 times. So that means we did that song less than once a month, right? So we only did King of Glory 11 times, less than once a month. People only come to our church, the majority of them, 2 to 3 times a month. And not all of them even come to that service. So that song may have felt like a new song to them many times. So it's interesting, trying to figure out how to navigate the world of bangers coming out every week and how many can you do at your church. And that's kind of another reason why I've done the Get Off My Church Lawn segment. We're not doing one today, but maybe in the next live stream. There's so many great songs that come out. So I want to talk now about something that is really interesting in the worship and tech world, and that is virtual reality. So I want to know from you guys that are watching this, or if you're watching this later, are you going to utilize VR in your worship ministry? And if you currently are doing it, like, how are you doing that? And have you seen success? Or are you a person that is extremely opposed to the church being involved in the VR world? I guess it's pretty like controversial, but my son actually got a Oculus, whatever the version 2 or whatever, for Christmas, and I'm kind of new to the whole VR thing, but because I'm old and it makes me sick, so. But he got this, and it just got me even thinking more. Like, and this kind of has been a topic in the Facebook groups. Should the church be utilizing VR? So, if we look here, though, Craig Groeschel came out and stated that Life Church is now in the metaverse. Let me see if I can scroll over here to where he said it. Oh no, I lost it. What did I do? I broke it. He says one church in multiple locations, now including the metaverse, alt space VR, celebrating those who attended and the 2 people who decided to follow Jesus. Swipe to see. So if we come in here and look at his Instagram post, you've got like a virtual church thing kind of set up there in the metaverse, and you make your own little not emoji, what are those things called, avatars, and interact with each other without legs, of course. Let's see.
Grace, he makes you new.
So
Those
Craig's
say,
preaching.
Yes, I need
Those are people.
Today, I give my life to Jesus. That's your prayer. Lift your hands high right now. All
right
over
now,
the place,
even
yes.
in this room right now, in Alt Space VR,
here,
if you want to lift your hand and give your life to
online,
Christ,
just type it in the chat.
right now, I see you back there, man. Welcome to the family of God. I see you way back there in the back. Welcome to the family of God. So glad that you're here today, surrendering your life to Jesus. Pastor Craig is going to pray a prayer with us. Everyone, unmute. Let's pray this prayer together as a community.
Save me.
Save me.
By your grace.
By your grace.
Fill me with your spirit.
Fill me with your spirit.
So I can know you. Need his forgiveness.
So, man, that is interesting for sure. What are your thoughts on VR? This is something that is just so foreign to me that I don't quite understand it. I know in the past there was like Second Life and kind of the initial thing with VR, and we didn't really have to pay attention to it, I don't feel like. And is this kind of the same thing? My first feelings on it are I'm already too overwhelmed as a tech guy, just even trying to present a great worship service online, that devoting the time and the resources to do that well is going to be really hard. Like, I don't even hardly invest in our Instagram because I just don't have time. And that's my initial thought on it. But then you see, like, those were two real people giving their life to Christ. And obviously, there's the questions of, well, how do you disciple people and how do you follow up with people and those kinds of things. But it's an interesting, experiment almost. And is this going to be like 10 years from now? It'll be like the same thing as live streaming, like where before you thought, we don't even need to live stream. So I don't know. It's interesting for sure. And I've seen in the middle of the other conversations, I've seen other churches that have done this, that have some of them been doing it for years now. Let me see if I can find. Here we go. This is Cornerstone. Let me see if I can find. Yeah, Cornerstone Church of Yuba City. Like right here, they've been doing this for a couple of years now.
More, bro. More.
Well, bro, it was good meeting you.
They have their church set up in one space.
We have a Discord server. I'm gonna talk about.
This pastor is kind of visiting beforehand with people.
Good. That's good.
And so they're just kind of waiting for the service to start. Hey. This is kind of weird to me. It's kind of weird that they like combine real worship. I don't know.
Glory to God, the world will sing.
Where?
And then they say, all right, like, hey, everybody.
Start the message.
After worship, like, let's go out by the river and let's hang out there and we'll do the message. So then they come out here and they've got like their church preaching stuff set up here where he's got his like sermon notes on there and he's preaching in VR, So it's for sure interesting. I don't have a grasp on it really to have a strong opinion one way or the other, but I'm very interested in hearing what other people's thoughts are and how we can utilize it. So if you have an opinion that's strong, I would love to hear it. Or maybe you're like me and you're just like, I mean, it seems interesting, but I'm not sure. I'm just, a 37-year-old man, so I'm not sure how this all works. Okay, so here's one thought here from Karen. Sorry, I keep doubling myself. Karen's thoughts are, I think people need human connections. We need human interaction. And we can substitute human interaction for different things, but we still need it. Yeah, for sure. And so I think that's always the struggle with online digital ministry is, breaking that barrier and feeling like there really is human interaction. I watched this YouTube video that was, I think, from the Washington Post, where a lady did metaverse for 24 hours, where she wore the headset and everything she did was in the metaverse. And she really commented that, you start to really feel like these people are in the room with you. Maybe you're doing an interview with somebody or a conference call, and instead of looking at them through Zoom, like there's just something, I guess, about the VR, talking to each other and interacting that way that it makes it feel like it is real human interaction. And so, for sure, we definitely need human connections. And my question would be, does this get us closer to that or further away? Here's Ricky's thoughts on some of the live stream stuff. He says, we live streamed before COVID. The plan is never to allow it to be more convenient to stay home. I personally don't agree with people staying home for services. I don't know. It doesn't seem right. I definitely understand why we have it, but it seems that people are using it as an excuse to not show up to services. Very sad. We should do life together. Yeah, for sure there is some of that sentiment out there. The thing that I've kind of noticed is the people that were fringe people at our church are probably the ones that were most likely to kind of fall into that category you're talking about, where it's like, oh, we just watch online, But there is some of that fear, though, that it's like we've enabled people and people have formed habits. I mean, Carrie Newhoff has talked a lot about that. but you can't worry about it like that. You can't. I don't think the answer is not live streaming, so that people are forced to come to your building. That's not the answer. So I am very curious though. In 2022, I really want to figure out like what is a win, and like let's get real about our live streaming, online presence, and all those things, and figure out, how can we really do digital ministry and not just put on the best, production of our services. And I think that's the next step that I really want to try to look into is how can we do that well? So yeah, and maybe the metaverse is part of that. Live production tips and tools. He's got some thoughts. Says we need a metaverse live experience. I'm curious how this is going to happen, but I can see it happening, and it's going to change everything. All right. That's strong opinion for sure. I feel like it may be one of those things that like it's going to happen. Will it stick around? I don't know. I mean, the lady who wore it for 24 hours, she said, they're going to have to do things if this is going to be a real thing, like come out with headsets that aren't so bulky and heavy. They're going to have better battery life. So maybe like the Google Glass or Apple Glass starts being incorporated into this metaverse experience. And it's interesting though. One channel that you guys should check out, and then we're about to hop into some live stream reviews, is Black Bar Media. If you haven't, I'm hoping that maybe I can get some guys on these live streams that I do and have some conversations about maybe the things that their expertise is in. So it's not just always just me spouting off my random thoughts. Like don't take my word for it. But he's got some really interesting content on there. All right, let's look at some live stream reviews, you guys. So I always have that form available where you can go ahead and submit your live stream. And today I've got a few that we can look at. Let me get rid of some of these tabs on here if I can. Oh my goodness. All right. Okay, so our first live stream submission comes from First Baptist Church of Grand Cayman. Jonathan Jorge, he's got an X3 Pivot Cam SE. I don't know what that is. A Sony A6600 and a Sony ZV-1. Okay, so that's a newer camera. And he'd like feedback on the audio mix. So I believe FBC Cayman. Yeah, there we are. Let's look at this and see. Turn down a little bit. Audio mix.
Well, good morning and welcome to worship.
So let's listen.
Let's stand as we celebrate together this morning. Let's clap along. Some trust in chariots, we trust, but the Lord our God. Some trust in horses, we trust in the name of the Lord our God. We trust in the name of the Lord our God. We trust in the.
Okay, so let's just look at their setup here, and then we'll kind of listen a little bit more. They've got a choir spread out. They've got three different choir mics, it looks like, on stands there. And then they have 4 praise teamers. It looked like they've got electronic drums. And they got a percussionist on that side. Keyboard players, floor wedges. Not seeing any in-ear monitoring. So we've got stage volume that they're competing with a little bit there. Yeah, and then it looks like electronic drums over there on that side. So let's listen a little bit more, and then let's give some thoughts. We'll try to help them out. key change. Oh, maybe it's just a different song.
For the cause of Christ the King, we give our lives an offering. As a great crucified, endure the cross as every single name on the sun. To the
All right, so my initial thoughts are it's not a bad mix for sure. I can hear all the instruments. Like I could hear that acoustic player. I didn't even know he was there. You got a couple different keyboardists playing. You know, I can hear the vocalists, the choir, the people in the audience a little bit. It seems like maybe just like a little too roomy. Like, I don't know. There's that balance of like, you want everything to be clear and defined, but then also to have space to where it feels like a live stream. That's where you bring in the audience mics and reverb and things like that. Let's listen for panning, and you guys feel free to chime in any comments. I've got a couple more thoughts before we move on. Okay, so first of all, I guess I was having a little, like there's so many singers, I was like, who's actually the leader? It sounds like that guy maybe there is the leader, but in my opinion, I personally like to have a vocal be the lead vocal and then everything else built around that. Right now, it just sounds like a conglomerate of lots of different voices. If you are using those, it looked like a TD20 maybe, or maybe even a better model than that on the V drums. Something we did that really took our sound to a different level, if you're going to use those, is to incorporate using a VST sound library and just sound replace those. And like the snare drum, I think could use some help. The toms could use some help. And like we use Steven Slate's sound samples or addictive drums, and usually just plugging in a MIDI cable from between the brain and the computer is enough to be able to, it like automatically maps to, since you have a nice drum set. So that's something to think about. Yeah, those are my initial thoughts. Let's see if anybody in the comments has anything that they want to chime in. Yeah, Ricky says full screen lyrics to the live stream is different, especially like how they were going back and forth between them. But that's not what he was asking feedback for. That was a little jarring to me. I'm like, why are we going back and forth between these? It's a little interesting. Live production tips and tools. Yeah, it sounds too roomy. You're right. It's like an external shotgun mic capturing everything. So Willie says, it sounds more like congregation singing than leading service praise team leading the congregation. Yeah. Isaac says, I generally prefer for the vocals to be the main aspect of the mix, but in this case, the vocals are kind of drowned out by the instruments. Okay. Yeah. Isaac is one of our, I mean, he does everything in our church as far as media stuff, and he'll, hopefully you confirm that planning center call for running sound this Sunday, Isaac. So yeah, I think the key there with vocals being on top of everything, because here's the thing that can be dangerous about that. Historically, in church mixes, before live production or anything, that was the thought. You know, we have to have the vocals out in front of everything. And then you had all these vocals just like really out in front, and then you kind of had like some piano and some other stuff underneath them. And I think the key to creating a good mix is to be able to have the vocals have clarity, but if you listen to, but still have all the other instrumentation that makes the music beautiful and makes the music what it is. And so if you listen to, a good mix of just a song, there's always clarity in the vocals, but it's never sitting on top of everything. And so that's for sure, can be dangerous, especially in church world, because I think that is a thought of like, well, the vocals are the main thing. We have to be able to understand them, or else how can we worship? So it's a balance there, for sure, a balancing act. All right, let's look at another church's live stream. Let me get it pulled up here. All right, our second one comes from Alianza Cristiana. Oh, that's the church's name. Yeah, sorry. And this is Diego's church. So obviously they're a Spanish-speaking church. Let's look at their setup. They've got 2 cameras, a ATEM TV studio, ProPresenter 7. Oh, wait. He didn't tell me anything about that. Oh, yeah, he did. He wants help with the cameras. So I think I've got his pulled up here. No, that's not it. That's not it. We're done with Craig. We're done with that. We're done with that. We're done with that. We are done with that. We're done with that. We're going to find it. Let's just copy and paste here. Here we go. Okay, so he said they had 2 cameras. So it appears to me that maybe they have that center shot and then somebody controlling this other camera. Not sure where it's located. We're getting a lot of shots of the congregation, and just off the top first glance here, it seems weird to show the congregation because everybody's in dual masks and you can't really see any expressive engagement. That's just the first thought. There's some good engagement. So I will say, that is something that we actually avoid at our church, and it's just a personal preference. I don't ever want people in the room to feel like a camera is inhibiting their ability to worship. So we don't actually get shots of people worshiping from the front ever. I've been to churches and conferences where, they're doing IMAG, and as soon as somebody realizes they're on camera, all of a sudden their hands go up and they're worshiping, or the opposite. Maybe they're worshiping, they look up to see the lyrics and they see themselves, and it jars them. And so it doesn't look like you're doing IMAG, so that's good at least. But, and this may fit your culture, but for us, it's weird enough for people at my church already, even though we've had cameras forever. Like, there are people that are like, I don't want to sit in the middle because it'll show the bald spot on the back of my head in the live stream. And I'm like, well, you can't avoid it because I have cameras in every angle. So that's just a thought. But yeah, let's keep going.
Señor.
All right. So I guess I would just ask you, what is the goal of your live stream? For us, the goal of the live stream is to help people that are watching online not feel like spectators and be more like have the feeling of being a part of the service. And so that's why with that roaming camera that you have, like we try to shoot through the audience and if you want to show people worshiping, that's great. But instead of just having this wide shot and then back and forth between people in the audience, I would try to utilize that floor cam to get close-ups of people's like that are singing on stage, that are lit that way, with a closer shot, and maybe give the perspective of like being in the room with people instead of like I'm watching the church do their thing. So that's just kind of my initial thoughts. Anybody else? What do you got, guys? Help me out with this one. And honestly, we're only looking at a glance at this. So, who knows? They could add a different camera operator. They could be doing it different. Just for that song, it could have been different. It looks like that's pretty much the way. They do have some close-ups here of, it does look like, okay, they go to the guitarist, the drums. I like the lyrics on screen. The sax player, keyboard player. Okay, so they're alternating back and forth. That stuff is great. So maybe it was just on that one song, but that's where the link took me. So yeah, that stuff is great. Color balance wise, composition wise, not bad. It seems a little cool and purpley to me, but that it looks like maybe you're using RGBW lights to light people on their faces just by the way the carpet looks to me. So, but the walls do look white. So, and that looks like the correct white balance to me. I don't know that you need the tag of your logo in the top right. Not sure that really adds much. But yeah, it looks like maybe your key lighting is not actually variable white or, something like that. So yeah, that's my initial thoughts. Let's see what you guys say. Okay. Related to the video, consider somehow not having a basically white everywhere and washed out on the projected. Yeah, I know what you're saying there. It's tough there on their white walls with a very bright room. And then they're having white words as well. It looks like maybe. That's tough. Isaac says, I was about to mention the same thing about spectators. Shooting through the congregation allows the live viewers to feel more involved. Yeah, for sure. We agree. Yay. All right, we have one more live stream just to take a look at here. I hope you guys are enjoying your final day of 2021. I'll save about 10 minutes for questions. If you do have a question, feel free to just holler it out. If you do want to be a gentleman and a scholar and throw a super chat in there, my children will appreciate that, and that'll feed my new little puppy. If you missed it, if you did miss it, we got a new puppy, and Max is a cutie, so he's also very ornery. So. All right, let's see if we can hop over here and look at this last live stream. All right, our third and final live stream today comes from Calvary Chapel in Fredericksburg. Micah Martin submitted this one. Here's their setup. They have a Blackmagic Pocket 4K, ATEM Mini Pro, PTZ camera, a Nikon Z6, and a Pro Tools mixing station. And he'd like suggestions on directing. So let's pull up theirs and see what they have going on in, was it Fredericksburg, Calvary Chapel, Fredericksburg. Let's see. We'll go Christmas Eve service. Got a long intro here. Some pre-service hosts coming on. All right.
That was made in him.
Here Ooh, sibilance.
Christ is born in Bethlehem. Here comes heaven.
Is it just me, or is like the high end really hot? Could be these in-ears. All right, so let's just give some thoughts here. First of all, I like the template that you've chosen there for the black bars. It looks very similar. It looks familiar. So I'm a fan for sure. Camera wise, let's just kind of bump through this and see. I like this main shot, the framing on it. Obviously you're cutting off a dude's head there in the back, but sometimes you just have to do that because that's not the focus. It's the girl here leading. Color wise, her skin tone looks good. I don't like green lights, but it is Christmas, so that makes sense. So I do want to go back to this shot and give you some thoughts here in just a second. We had this kind of side shot. We also have the side shot, but I've added movement to it. If you haven't looked at how we've done that, check it out on my channel. This one is kind of like obviously a weaker shot. I don't know which camera. This is probably that PTZ if I was guessing. And so just dynamic range on it looks pretty bad. But sometimes you just got to throw up there with what you got and have a wide shot. So let's see. I wish he would have said like the ZV-1 is this, the Pocket 4K is this. Oh, we got a little side shot. Let's watch that. I'm gonna turn this down a little bit though because it was piercing my ears. The high end. Okay, was it just me or was that camera out of sync? Let's watch her singing. That one's in sync. Yeah, it's like a frame, but like half a second behind. That's a good shot right there. That's solid. I like the level that it's on where you can see people in the congregation. You see the choir. That's really good. Okay, this one right here, it's got some vibration, so I'm not sure how you have it mounted, but it seems like kick drum maybe or something is causing it to vibrate, so you need to separate that either from your sound booth or whatever. I've got some solutions on my channel you can look at. It's a good looking shot though. Ricky says color balance from cameras are not the same. Yeah, I think that's got to be that PTZ. And to me, it's just... I'm not a fan of PTZ. I could be wrong, though. Let's keep going here. So yeah, this one is warmer than the other two, but honestly, I like this color balance more than the others. So I don't know. You're also, that's one of the problems with using, you know, cameras from all these different manufacturers. You got a PTZ, I think you said a Blackmagic, a Sony, and something else. You know, you can just get them all to the same white balance and get pretty close. But, you know, every lens has its own characteristics. Every camera has its own characteristics. And so that's why I've chosen to pretty much just, yeah, we've stick with Panasonic, and they all have the same color science. So, oh, what was this one? Oh, Joshua, I would show your comment on there, but it just says on my thing, it says, let's show it anyways. It says pair character holding his belly, laughing out loud. Thanks for the super chat, man. If you look, that's actually an emoji. But that is one thing about H2R, is that you can't show emojis through it. All right. Isaac had a couple of thoughts that I think it might be good to say. I'm a fan of faster switching and cuts, even on slow songs. That might not be feasible with less cameras, though. Yeah, I'm a fan of that, too. Okay. Mix highs are definitely hot. Yeah, okay. I don't usually wear these ears when we're doing these, so I wasn't sure, but it seemed like you need to just maybe put compress those highs or something on a multi-band compressor or something. Where can we submit questions for a tech setup? Yeah, so if you go to my community tab on my YouTube channel, if you're a subscriber, which obviously you are if you're commenting, then there's a Google form that you can fill out. And if you guys ever want to do a one-on-one consultation, I do have a way to do that through Gemmy. I believe it's, let's see. Let me see if I can find it. It's on, they just changed the address. If I go to Jimmy, here we go. I think I can post this. Man, everything is so backwards because I had to go through Restream today. What happens if I do this? There's a link that you can go to and schedule a one-on-one consult if you want to like dive into something more specific rather than just like, hey, give us your thoughts on our service. L. Fisher, it looks like the stage layout was more focused on the in-person look than streaming. Try to at least design for the main camera so person not directly behind. That's good thoughts. I'm always kind of thinking about those kinds of things, but a lot of times it's a segmented team doing this. So you have somebody in charge of directing and you have somebody in charge of music. Well, the good thing about my position is that I'm in charge of it all. So I'm kind of thinking about those things. Even designing light cues, I'm thinking about, exposure and intensity values of spotlights on certain female vocalists that have fairer skin, because online, we don't live shade things. And so Caitlin's going to be overexposed if that spotlight is on 100%. Whereas with Ob, she needs it at 100%. So, you got to think about the whole thing together as one package. That's a good point. All right, guys. We did a lot today. We covered a lot of things. And I think that, this is a good place to stop off for 2021. Happy New Year to you too. I hope you guys have a great night tonight, but more importantly, just going forward, something that I thought about doing on here is just looking at the goals that I set in 2021. But I need to pull those back up and just look and see, what did I accomplish and what do I want to set my goals for in 2022, not only with my ministry and my job here, but with my family and my spiritual life, my health, all those things going forward. How can we be the best that we can be and do it all for the right reasons, right? And so I hope that you guys have a blessed 2022. If you do have any questions or video ideas that you'd like me to cover, feel free to comment on this video when it ends. And I've got a long list of things. I've enjoyed this first year of the YouTube journey, and I just wanted to hop on this live stream and chat with you guys. So I really appreciate all the support. It really does. It's blown me away to know that, like, I get emails from guys in, Africa that are saying this video helped me. And so it's just pretty amazing. So, all right. I think that'll do it for the live stream today. Let's see if I can figure out how to end this. You guys, Happy New Year. We'll see you next year.